let's dive into the Browns. Baker Mayfield also posted a statement today, basically saying, I'm I'm happy to say that I've committed everything of me. I've been my absolute best to Cleveland. Cleveland has made a lot of great memories in me and my wife's life. And whatever happens next, I want to thank Cleveland for the opportunity. It makes me think though, like Baker Mayfield is getting screwed over if this happens. Like people do not understand. Baker Mayfield is the greatest thing to happen to the Cleveland Browns for like over 20 years. Like, do you guys remember the meme, the old jersey, where the guy basically he had like I want to say a Tim Couch jersey or someone along those lines, and instead of getting a new jersey every year, they would just slap on a piece of tape with the name of the new QB they have. And this team went through like 15 different QBs in, around the same amount of years. And so like this is a team that was constantly they were searching for decades to get back to the playoffs, to land a QB that can help them win. And then you get Baker Mayfield, number one overall. He comes to a team that I don't think won a game the year before. That also drafted number one overall the year prior. And he comes to a team with Hugh Jackson, coach that gets fired midseason. Then he has to deal with Freddie Kitchens, a coach that probably should not have been given the head coach position. And then in his third year, he gets Stefanski, and he goes to the playoffs and wins a playoff game. And now people are just like, oh, Baker Mayfield, let's move on. Let's put our hands on the table for Deshaun. What if Kirk Cousins is available? This and that. And it's like, you guys don't understand how good you have it. Like, I'm a Jets fan, and we haven't had any QB even make the playoffs since Mark Sanchez. So for me to think like we could draft a QB and in year 3 he could go to make the playoffs, like let's say Zach Wilson does this. If Zach Wilson goes to the playoffs and beats a division rival in his third season, I'm going to be super excited, and I'm going to want that guy to be the QB for the rest of his career. Like, this is a dude who's like helping turn around your organization, and you're just ready to cut ties with him because he played the entire season injured. Like, Baker Mayfield literally played all of 2021 injured, and he had a shoulder injury, and I think he had some other injuries as well. And like you could tell watching the game that he was clearly injured, but he's also clearly your best option despite being injured. And when he wasn't injured the year before, he took you guys into the playoffs, and you look like a team that could go deep and could potentially like compete for a Super Bowl. And Baker Mayfield has shown to be that dude at multiple points in his career. And like, let's not forget, Baker Mayfield is a guy who walked on, I think twice in college. He was a walk-on to become a Heisman quarterback, the best player in college essentially. And like, this is a guy who's had a chip on his shoulder his entire career. If you let Baker Mayfield walk, he might not be the most talented like athlete. He might not have the most like best arm in football, but Baker Mayfield is a guy who's going to dedicate everything, and he's going to lay it all on the line. And whatever team gets him next, if he doesn't stay in Cleveland, he's going to go out and he's going to prove them wrong. Like, he has constantly proved people wrong over and over throughout his career. And like, there's for sure media that doesn't like him, which I think is ridiculous. This is a guy who, like, he's the best thing Cleveland has had at QB. And to think like, let's just toss him because he got hurt and played through an injury all year, it makes no sense. Like, this guy, they should have committed to him last year and given him an extension. He should be the Browns QB for the next 10 years. But he might not be. And like, I can also understand like the argument, like, if you get an opportunity to take Deshaun Watson, a guy who you think might be a top 5 QB, might be top 10, and you see Baker Mayfield is more of like a top 15 guy, so you think making that difference, improving, is gonna be the difference between like where Baker Mayfield can take your team and winning a Super Bowl, then I understand that argument. It's just, to me, I feel like Baker Mayfield's kind of getting screwed over. And like, let's just compare him to the rest of his rookie class, for example. So Baker Mayfield has a 14,000 yards passing, 92 touchdowns, and 56 interceptions. So not exactly a 2-to-1 ratio for touchdowns to picks, but still a pretty good ratio. And then, so the rest of the class, you got Sam Darnold, 10,000 yards. So basically, Baker Mayfield threw an entire season more of yards than Sam. 54 touchdowns, 52 picks. So Darnold is 4 interceptions away from Baker, but he's also close to 40 touchdowns off. That's crazy. Josh Rosen, another guy that was drafted top in this class, 2,800 yards, 12 touchdowns, 21 picks. Not even. I mean, he's bouncing between teams every year now. And then you got Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. These are the two top guys in this class. Josh Allen, 14,000 yards, right around the same as Baker. 103 touchdowns, 46 interceptions. So, like, a little bit less picks, a little bit more touchdowns. But, like, he's not, like, way, way, way better. Like, he for sure is probably a better QB. But, like, the gap, like, Baker Mayfield statistically isn't that far off. And then Lamar, 9,900 yards passing, 84 touchdowns, 31 picks. So he even has less picks than both. And then obviously he's doing crazy things on the ground as well. So like, the point of the argument isn't to say, Baker is better than Lamar or Baker is better than Josh Allen. The point is he's not that far off of them. And Cleveland finally has a reliable QB that can win them games and take them to the playoffs. And it's like, you don't understand how nice that is to have. Like, how do you guys quickly forget that you guys were one of the worst teams in all of sports for multiple decades? Like, you're just going to forget, like, how long it took you to get to this point just because you think the grass is greener, you think you can get someone a little bit better than Baker. Like, Baker's going to prove you guys wrong. And unless you do trade for Deshaun and he wins you a Super Bowl, then, like, what was it worth it? It probably isn't worth it. If you trade for Deshaun and you don't win a Super Bowl, that trade was completely worthless. Especially if, like, those picks that you give up end up becoming good players that you could have built around Baker. Like, would having Deshaun Watson with not a lot of weapons on offense be as good as having Baker with a ton of weapons? I don't know. But I think that I don't think the difference is as big as people want to make it out to be. I do think Baker is a lot better than people are saying, and he just had a down year because he was hurt most of the year. And I think things could turn around if he does stay in Cleveland.